sell it today.
Satan misses you one
Polynesian broadcast. Hi, I'm Polly. I'll be your host today in the greenhouse, groundzeroplus.com. Ring the alarm. Somebody ring the alarm.
We'll be taking questions from the media on the phone bridge and through social media.
The phone bridge. Today we learned that NASA has a fucking phone bridge. and like, I have more questions about the phone bridge than I have about the comet. What the fuck is a phone bridge? Like, someone wrote that? They're like, you can't just say phone or NASA. Like, it's gotta sound like way more futuristic than we'll take questions from journalists on the phone. So they had to add bridge to it. And then, you know, my paranoid ass, just that alone is a red flag, isn't it? Important call on my phone bridge. You're gonna have a lot of questions, and you're gonna feel like something's wrong with them. So why did they say phone bridge?
GroundZeroPlus.com. It's the Polynation broadcast. Live every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, that is. It's cold up here, so excuse my voice. Got some things I need to get off my chest this week. What a week. I mean, apart from my frigid temperatures, which did affect my mood, and there was a huge supermoon. That was pretty cool, and that pun was intended because, has anyone ever noticed when it gets really cold in the winter, it's always a full moon? Yeah, cold light. That's what it is. The moon's making it cold, folks. Kinda. I'll get into that maybe on a different show. So today, there's a few things I want to talk about. Is anyone here an F1 fan? And by F1, I don't mean, one middle finger. I mean Formula One, the fastest cars in the world, racing around a track. Around 20 cars, I think, all within half a fucking second of each other. It's insane. This season has been insane. So I want to talk about that. Just give you a Cole's notes. It's pretty, I don't know. I'm starting to think, because I stopped watching a lot of sports, okay? I used to watch baseball. I mean, back in the early 90s, I think it was 93, 94. My baseball team won the World Series back-to-back. In your face, American Baseball League. And I was, I played sports, kind of, before high school. And then I learned that, a lot of them are fixed. There's, I don't want to call it insider trading, but, it seems too scripted, and I think they're getting sloppy. And I hope that's not transferring over to F1, but I'll explain that later as well. I also want to talk about civilization resets. And Atlantis might come up. And the Strait of Gibraltar might come up. Just a different perspective that I thought of this week, because I would rather be thinking about these things than what's actually going on in the world right now. Also, I hope you heard last night's Ground Zero show with Ryan Gable. It was really well done. He did a great job, I thought. And but some things were said that left a splinter in my mind, you could say. Mainly just to do with music. And I think one of his callers, I can't remember who it was, but that thought never left my head. Because I'm meeting more and more people that go out of their way to not listen to music. And I don't know, my feelings, I guess, go a bit beyond sympathy, but I understand why. I think it's because of the whole 432, 440 thing, and how everything is vibrational, and how it can affect your constitution. Which is why I always say, if it's plant friendly, it's probably human friendly. So all the music you're going to hear today, which should be new, it's with, some songs are accepted, but most of these songs I'm playing today, and most Saturdays on the Polynation broadcast, it's new music. You won't hear it on the radio. And the reason is because this music is good. And it doesn't generate dissonance. And you don't get unwanted overtones. Because some of it, I'm sure, I can't verify for every song, but I'm sure some of it is actually still 432. There's still good music coming out, is what I'm saying. It's just not on the radio. And music, bad music, it can be bad for your health and all that. I get all that. Yeah, that's okay. But it's like anything. There's also good too. And you can use, people have used music for healing for centuries, millennia. So, I guess, don't be afraid of music. And if you stop listening to music, maybe that's attached to some other kind of trauma that you should leave music out of. Also, I think that songs and art and food, I guess you could classify all of those as art, are one of the most indestructible forms of saving information on the planet. Why am I saying that? Because I also want to talk about civilization resets, like I said. I don't know. If there's survivors from every reset that we've had, and humans have survived many, well, you know, what I mean by reset is like a global catastrophe. We've endured many as a species. So if we survive, is that really a reset? Maybe that's why it keeps happening. We'll get into some of that. Also, way more tunes because, well, you're in the greenhouse. It's a Polynation broadcast. That's what we do. Here's Hummingbird by Catching Flies. GroundZeroPlus.com. I've learned some new things from this, from what NASA showed us. Number one,
Space is big. I didn't realize that. I thought, you look up and you're like, yeah, it seems like, medium. But now we know space is big, so I appreciate that. We now know there's something called science wiggles. That's good to know. And yeah, they don't know exactly. I guess they're confused. And we also know that we don't have the kind of telescopes I thought we fucking had. For some reason, I thought we had way better shit. I thought we were going to actually see the damn thing, but we don't. They've got garbage up there. They've got fucking old iPhones or something strapped to a fucking tin can. Those pictures suck.
It is a planetary deadlock. Beanfield. Thanks for letting us all know the obvious, Captain Obvious. We're at a planetary deadlock. That's alright though. We picked up lockpicking. I want to get this F1 thing out of the way and perhaps touch on something else that's kind of related, I guess. So here's the thing. This rarely happens, first of all. We've got 3 drivers tomorrow in Formula 1. We got Verstappen, Max Verstappen, for Red Bull. We have Lando Norris for McLaren. And we have Oscar Piastri for McLaren as well. Now, some things have to happen. It seems like Lando Norris, he's ahead by 12 points. If he finishes on the podium, I'm pretty sure he nails it. But some strange things have happened in order to get to this situation that seem kind of scripted to me now. So there was maybe not last race, but the race before, both McLarens got disqualified, and Max has been winning races. I think he's won the last 3. And he's likely going to win tomorrow. Which means, I thought, here's what's going to happen. You're hearing it. Spoiler alert, if you're going to watch the race, don't be mad if I'm right, okay? Somehow, both McLarens are going to get taken out, and Max is going to win his 5th championship, and it's going to be one of the most epic races of all time. Seems scripted, right? I hope it's not. I really thought that, racing, any kind of racing, where at the end of the day it comes down to how much that driver is an extension of the machine he's inside. And how much, we're talking thousandths of a second here in some cases, in a lot of cases. That's how do you even measure that amount of time? That's like saying you could measure, a yuga. It seems like we're kind of slotted into this, one sliver of perception of time. Anyways, that's off topic. This whole F1 thing seems just a tad scripted to me. Because if McLaren was not disqualified in that race 2 races ago, then there wouldn't be any drama to this last race, which is in Abu Dhabi, which is a really nice track. And literally, the top 10 are separated by less than half a second. It's insane how fast these cars are and how good these drivers are. But winning 5 championships is a big deal. Also, think back this year, what movie came out? Oh, was it F1? With Brad Pitt? Trying to promote the brand, I guess. And so, I don't know. I'm still going to be interested. More so than I am into something like baseball or the World Cup even. But it's starting to smell like a script. So if what I said happens tomorrow, I think we can safely assume that it's a very well-written script. Almost better than the movie. Which I haven't seen. And ironically, Max Verstappen, one of the guys in the title fight, he refused to go see it. And maybe he has some kind of insight. I don't know what that insight could be. Probably more than one even. Doesn't matter. Anyways, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have an update. If not, anybody in the greenhouse at groundzeroplus.com, that's the chat room. If you're a member, you know who you are. Don't tell me. If you see the race before I do, don't tell me. I'll just watch the highlights. I like not knowing, even though I'm predicting it. That's weird, isn't it? I'm predicting the outcome, but I don't want to know if it happens until I see it for myself. I don't know if that's weird or not. Anyways, thankfully there's more music. Like here's an illegal hit by Yitling Jazz, Polynation Broadcast. We're all over the place music-wise today, folks.
sacred geometry of light, the architecture of DNA. It is obvious that the complexity and variety possible in these macromolecules are beyond comprehension from the standpoint of geometric design alone. However, it begins with geometric design. DNA is the macromolecule responsible for the genetic coding of all life. It resides in the nucleus of all cells. DNA can be thought of as the master blueprint for life. The geometric linking that determines the shape and form of a DNA molecule involves two types of chemical bonding to go through the nucleotides. They have a total of 4 types of nitrogen-based molecules: adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. The purines and the pyrimidines. Then you have your phosphate molecule, which arranges itself according to the geometry of the cross. The phosphate molecule with its 4 oxygen atoms covalently linking deoxyribose sugar molecules into a chain is called a phosphodiester bridge or bond, and they bond themselves in this geometry.
It's a warm, orange-colored liquid.
Nation broadcast. My name's Paul, or Polly, whatever you want, that's fine. I don't have a phone yet, so you can't call in, not today at least. I want to talk about, if you're a listener of the show, I like Randall Carlson and the Younger Dryas hypothesis and cataclysms that are in the geological record and, all kinds of things like that. And many times, some of these events have been described as civilization resets, I guess you could call them. And a question was proposed to me, not directly, but just presented to me, that if there are survivors from these resets, which clearly there have been, then is it really truly a reset? And that got me thinking, I don't know. Damn. Because how do you erase... Okay, here's an example. Let's say the sun farts tomorrow and the internet goes down and everything's gone. All the information, poof, gone. Just like that. You can still sing a song. You can still cook a meal. And you can still draw a picture. And you can still write a book. All these things are art, right? At least in my head, art encompasses that grand of a dynamic scale of things, skills even. In fact, you could probably argue that art is a way of storing skills themselves. So does art save the world or preserve it? I mean, look at some of these cave paintings they found. How old are they? Like tens of thousands of years old, maybe older. I don't know exactly, but they're pretty fucking old. And they're still there. I mean, what kind of information can we get from those? That's a different story. Because then that, everything's open to interpretation. But the question of if there's survivors from one of these global cataclysm reset things, then can you really say it's been reset? Because you hear all these stories, right? Like how somebody survived. Let's use Atlantis for probably the most recognizable example. A civilization far more advanced, seafaring. There's a lot of reference to the Gibraltar Strait. I'll get back to that in a minute. They knew stuff. They had power. They traded. They taught. And they were eventually wiped out. But there were survivors. Apparently. Allegedly. I don't know. I wasn't there. But if there were survivors, and they taught everybody the same thing that they knew from their old civilization that got wiped out, because, sometimes Mother Nature doesn't give a shit how advanced you are. It's kind of like a cat. When you pet it too many times on its belly, it'll just... Yeah, that's one too many. You end up with stitches. Sometimes, I guess, in civilization, Squatter Man. Yes, thank you, Mike. I was trying to remember the name of that. The Squatter Man thing's very interesting. It's one of the oldest paintings, or cave paintings, I think, discovered. It's crazy, crazy old. And people think it's a depiction of a man, and he's squatting, and it looks like maybe he has a tail. But there's some interesting plasma physics. People have been able to replicate the same shape. Basically, the same exact shape of a squatter man, with using nothing but plasma and electric fields. And that makes me think, because you hear about all these these big archaeological people that are like, people wrote down what they saw. They drew what they saw. Okay? If the sun did something powerful enough to ionize the Earth's atmosphere high enough, you would see that shape in the sky. It would be huge. And there'd be all kinds of other crazy stuff going on too, which would be, fairly spectacular if you think about what we, supposedly had back then. We're just running around with sticks and stones and flint axes and, with our head between our legs, basically, not knowing what to do about anything. But somebody put that symbol in a cave a really long time ago. So the whole reset thing seems like maybe it's not a reset, it's just it's a restart, because there always seems to be survivors, and those survivors end up being people that are talked about for millennia afterwards. The one that taught us how to write or do math or cook food or farm, agriculture, all these things. It seems like somebody taught us these things because they were survivors. Now, a real reset, nobody survives. We got to figure it out again. The whole thing. Everything. Possibly even language. Depending on who survives from what part of the world. Imagine. You speak one language, but some other survivors on the other side of the world don't speak that language. How are you going to figure it out? You're going to have to come up with another language. Something I never considered. If there were more hospitable times in Earth's geological history where there was enough time for a human race to get thousands of years ahead of us where we are now, but still not capable of stopping Mother Nature's inevitable fury, especially when it comes to cosmic things. What do you do to stop a huge piece of iron from slamming into the earth? If you can't stop it, you might be able to move out of the way or build, say, the moon, that kind of thing. If civilization can go back that far and be way more advanced, maybe we have a different explanation for what the moon is. These kinds of things, the age of civilization or human civilization, seem to have an impact on how everybody views the world. Well, at least it does for me. It's the moment you think you have everything figured out, that's when real history punches you in the face. And so what happens now? Well, that's the name of this song. Polynation Broadcast, GroundZeroPlus.com.
rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock.
My thing with the killer man, I step on ya, mate. One bag of show we I get. People are ball and I fret, and I watch every penny with the killer man I get. This I know William Million can't bet. You no bet on your life, and your life me a take. Don't know killer no pop on a pet. Piece up themselves like child bed wet. Scott beside you can't diss me child. Still I make me Kyle, killer man be smile. Who's what for the anywhere the fool reside. Know some guns are the brand new design. The brand new design, the one where you can't find. Man trying to bust my head behind my back. Now them going get the carbine. Furthermore, let me get the star 9.
Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock.
Come through every time and smash a party. We too wicked, I be getting naughty. Heat it up, they can never stop me. Acting up, we too bossy. Black white did that, big down did that, fight out did that, no spit did that. Group where you top anything and they don't see you ready when I buy vulture. Watching the wickedest style ultra. We is the farmers are like a vulture. Read none of this, I am the culture. I'm so bad like this, not the insulter. Lights up, yo man I spit tighter. Man a DJ champion, dub listener. Never done, never over. Man I step it up on my planet rocker.
Body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock. Rock, body rock. Oh my God, it's a body rock.
the other me, see, spitting out truth, nylon cream suits, dripping with fear, democracy of freaks, silent fantasies, I don't belong.
It's just another minor speeding fence, but it's not your fault. Please don't apologize, this is how you were born. Feels like you are forgiving me, but I'm calm about who you are.
lust from your brow. Forget about tomorrow, no one's ashamed. We're the ones you're scared of, I'm the one you need. Unpredictable, till fun is needed.
It's just another minor speeding offense, but it's not your fault. Please don't apologize. This is how you were born.
Feels like you are fordogging me, but I'm calm about who you are.
Polynation Broadcast, GroundZeroPlus.com. The randomness in the greenhouse just keeps increasing because now I want to play you a clip I found, which made me look at nature itself, the relationship that I have with nature as a human being, in a totally different light. And so, let's hear from Adam Harrington from Learn Your Land. Highly recommended YouTube channel, by the way, if you're looking for ones that you need to follow and learn stuff from. He doesn't lie in his title. Here he is. It's about 5 minutes. It's definitely a very interesting take on how Mother Nature itself even works. But I'll let you decide.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Adam Harrington. Many years ago, I became interested in foraging wild edible plants. And my primary interest in foraging originally centered around my desire to eat high-quality foods. I wanted to eat well, and foraging looked like a good way to do that. Well, one of the first wild edible plants I learned about was a plant called stinging nettle. I remember learning that stinging nettle has a pretty impressive phytochemical profile. So impressive that some people consider stinging nettle to be the most nutritious plant in this part of the world. Upon hearing that, I wanted to find some myself. Well, I did eventually find my first wild patch of stinging nettle. And when I did, I harvested some leaves and carefully transplanted a few plants from a dense colony into a small garden outside the apartment I was living in at the time. Well, pretty soon I had a large, thriving patch of stinging nettle growing right outside my front door, which was great for stinging nettle, of course, but was also great for me because I now had access to all this food and medicine, and stinging nettle became a dietary and medicinal staple in my life. Why am I telling you all of this? Well, there's a recurring question that runs through my mind, and the question is, why do things look the way that they do? I think a lot of people have related questions, and what I've noticed over the years is that many people actually take a negative stance toward these questions and wonder about the seemingly degraded state of many ecosystems. Many people wonder, for example, why certain ecosystems are disappearing, why some landscapes look rough, and ultimately why humans are so disconnected from nature. I don't claim to have answers to all those questions, but one way I approach them, especially the ones centered around why things in nature might seem somewhat off today, is to think about what stinging nettle taught me all those years ago. Now, I'm not saying I received some kind of mysterious cosmic download from stinging nettle, but I did learn something very practical early on through my repeated interactions with the plant. I learned that when I needed the plant, I paid attention to it, I cared for it, I became a champion of it, and I created space for it to thrive. When we ask questions like, why isn't something being done to protect this piece of land? Or why don't people seem to care at all about nature? I think the answer has something to do with humans not needing nature. Now wait a second. How can I, someone who spends a lot of time in places that look like this, claim that humans don't need nature? What about the sunlight? What about the oxygen? What about the food, the water, the wood, the stone? Don't all these come from nature, and don't humans depend on all of these? Well, yes, humans absolutely do depend on the sunlight, the oxygen, the food, water, wood, stone, and countless other gifts that nature provides. But unconsciously depending on something is very different than consciously needing something. And the consequences of an unconscious dependence on nature are written all over the landscape today. The abandoned lot where Callery Pear is thriving, the mature oak forest that's about to become a new shopping center, the second growth woodland so thickly stocked with Japanese barberry that it's nearly impossible to walk through without picking up a few dozen ticks. This is what happens when not enough humans consciously need these ecosystems. Things seem off. Most people don't notice. Some of us do notice, but wonder what to do. Well, imagine if enough humans did have a deep physical and cultural need for something like American plum orchards. Sounds idealistic, but if it were true I don't think it's difficult to imagine the abandoned lot next to Pizza Hut transforming into a thriving grove of American plum trees instead of an overgrown calorie pear thicket that no one really cares for. And if enough humans consciously needed oak forests, I don't think it's difficult to imagine plans for a new shopping center being scrapped because trees, streams, slime molds, and woodpeckers are deemed more important. And if enough humans consciously needed open woodlands, I don't think it's difficult to imagine humans rekindling their cultural and practical connection to fire as an effective land management tool. And if a young forager consciously needed ecosystems that provided both food and medicine, well, I don't think it's difficult to imagine this forager learning about stinging nettle, bringing some of it home, giving it a new place to grow, tending to it as devotedly as he would tend to his own cats, and stewarding the original wild patch he harvested from. Am I saying that a conscious need for nature is the only thing that can fix what problems we think we have? No, because I think that love and respect and gratitude and openness and the ability to think beyond one's individual needs are important too. But if we do look at an ecosystem, maybe somewhat despairingly, and we think to ourselves, why does it look so degraded? Or why doesn't someone do something about that? And we are convinced that there really is a problem. I don't think it's too absurd to suggest that the ecosystem currently looks and functions the way it does in part because not enough humans consciously need it, even if that need is for the ecosystem to thrive for its own sake. When we go through life without an awareness that what gives us life comes from a place that looks like this, the consequences, at least in the eyes of many people, don't look so good. But when we learn to live with at least some gratitude, some appreciation, and an ongoing awareness that what gives us life absolutely comes from a place that looks like this, imagine what can happen. I don't think it's difficult to imagine that the results can be pretty amazing, and in the eyes of so many people, beautiful.
So, that little speech there by Adam Harrington from LearnYourLand.com, he's a really cool guy. It made me think of some of the theories I've heard behind the rainforest. And in some of Graham Hancock's work, he talks about this stuff called terra preta, which is like what seems to be a man-made soil. And there have been one or two suggestions, hypotheses, if you will, that state that the actual rainforest was a giant garden planted by humans or something, because they knew the value of having a giant oxygen producing swath of land in order to sustain life on our planet, however many years ago you want to go. Think about it. It's the fucking rainforest. How old's that? Right? The theory is that rainforest wasn't like a natural evolution. It was put there. There's too many of the same kind of trees. There's some things, anomalies we'll call them, that don't really add up to how like the natural progression of a rainforest would happen. In fact, nobody really knows how a rainforest started. So maybe we did. Or, well, not in the greenhouse. I mean, we're getting close, but greenhouse, by the way, it's over here at groundzeroplus.com. Become a member, be a supporter of censorship-free thoughts, opinions, music, most importantly in the greenhouse, all plant-friendly music, and an abundance of truth. So here's some more tunes. Here's True by Nightmares on Wax. Polynation broadcast.
True.
That's the Luna Lounge. I can't help it. We gotta do a double shot. Polynation broadcast. Be right back in like less than 10 minutes to shout out the greenhouse, groundzeroplus.com, the members chat room. GroundZeroPlus.com. Polynation broadcast. We're live every weekend from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. That is, and it is now 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time, which is when I like to shout out the greenhouse, the chat room over here at GroundZeroPlus.com. And for those of you wondering, yes, the link, I think the link for the Clyde chat coming up after the show here is just above the chat room over here at GroundZeroPlus.com. And in the chat room today we have, and I know he was in here, but I'll shout him out first because I know Chris, he's getting ready for it. He's doing the Zoom call. So he's getting ready for that. God bless him. He's always doing a great job. Aniki's in here. Mike Mont's in here. Possibly coming on next week, I guess. Maybe. Let's aim for that, Mike. We got some stuff to sort out. Dats in Focus is in there. Good to see you, bud. We got Eric in there. Lisa's in there. Sonny, Mitch Durbin, Taco Cat, Beekeeper. Good to see you. Mr. B, good to see you. Mad Catter, again. And Deborah G, welcome back. Everybody in the greenhouse in the chat today. We're just hanging out. We're not really like, to me, because we were speaking of resets, these shows, for me at least, it's kind of like a reset for me in a way. Just to listen to good tunes, talk about things that aren't scaring the shit out of me, and learn things from everybody. It seems like that's what we're supposed to do, in a way. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. What do I know? Well, I know that most of the music I'm playing for you today is from 2025. I know that my voice is begging me to stop speaking. I also know that we dodged a huge solar bullet. If you were listening last week, I mentioned preparing for solar activity. For some reason, this huge group of sunspots just decided to shut the fuck up. They're not doing anything, which is really weird because when they were on the other side of the sun, they were doing a lot. What does that mean? I don't know. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet. I think there's like 2 or 3 more days where that group, which you can actually see with the naked eye, not directly looking at the sun. You need, when you look at a solar eclipse, you get those, or a welder's mask, something like that. You can see it. That's how big they are. And for some reason, they remain silent when pointing towards Earth. What's doing that? I don't know. But if we find out, would it matter? Probably not. But if all of your electronics went out, and I know I'm repeating myself here, you'd still be able to sing your favorite song. And perhaps cook your favorite meal. Know how to grow your favorite vegetable. Maybe some of you would remember how to take care of animals. I mean, resets, I guess, depend on how many people survive. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't think you can. It's not a real reset. Is that even possible? Who knows? What I do know is this. Everybody in the greenhouse, thanks for being here. And stay tuned after the show for the live Zoom meeting. There is a link. I think it's right above the... Yeah, it's right above the chat room in groundzeroplus.com, if you remember. I think it... Yeah, it's even highlighted. You should be able to find it. It'll be there. And tomorrow, well, that's a day... It's kind of like the first 9/11, I guess. At least, well, maybe for some of you. You could probably keep going back in history and find events like this. But Pearl Harbor, I thought about, because I like to do Psychedelic Sunday, and you could definitely fill that show with music from that year specifically. Which I'll try to do. I'll do my best at doing that. But I don't want to talk about like all the conspiracies of the, they knew it was coming or whatever. Like, I don't want to get into any of that. What I want to get into is stuff like, if you're in the Navy and you have to cook on a boat that's moving from side to side, what kind of cooking technology came out of that? And what do you cook? Like, what kind of food was on these boats that just sank? And also, the manipulation of the minds of some of these pilots that just, on their own free will, just drove their plane into, even if they missed, they're dead. Kamikazes. How do you get someone to do that? Yeah, I don't know either, Zoe. Seems kind of silly. But I want to take a look at that. And then I also want to take a look at some of the pharmaceuticals / drugs that perhaps may have been involved, or at least even, well, you know what I mean. We'll maybe get into that tomorrow. But I'm not going to get into the conspiracies of Pearl Harbor. I thought the movie was okay. I wasn't there. I couldn't tell. It seems like some bad stuff happened, and a lot of people died, which is what they're gonna. Well, that's what they already say about 9/11, right? So, is there a connection? I don't think so. Other than sort of mentally galvanizing an entire population into thinking a certain way, I don't see any other use. maybe I've said too much. So let's end this on a good note, which would be more underground music. Mycelium of underground sounds. The Polynation broadcast is known for that, after all. So here's some more underground music, mostly from this year. Polynation broadcast, groundzeroplus.com.
ocean slackening to telangiectasia. The clouds clear in Waterloo, a sculpture of the butterfly, the sound of a sun's orbit. Kiss. Vivid things suffer a blackening displacement, and once we lay amenable, engraved in scintillating rhythms, it felt as if we were watching forest fires, hours away from anywhere, and the last second of your kiss feels like a day. The road to nowhere has started to end, and I feel colder now than I ever have before. It was an illusion of something I was feeling around the time when I started to feel like you were gonna walk out the door and get in the car. We were talking and locating each other's views in the mirror. We hadn't eaten real food. You said I should go and get something. I don't remember what it was. I don't care for memories anymore. They only seem to decay the dream further. The red swings and you walked away. And then you were a shape. And then you were a color. And then a girl. And I was but a lonely dog who couldn't bark because I'd bitten more than I could chew anyway. It's all coming back to me now, so I'd best stop thinking about it much for now. It seems to brood me worse at the moment for some reason, and I'll wait for some season, for some reason, 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 for some season, for some reason. I wake up in an empty dream.
wisdom, God, and heart and soul. And it's been right, nothing been wrong, and it's the smell, and it's the song. And it's been right, nothing been wrong, and it's the smell, and it's the song.
is that fuck real? I see lights tearing